Good evening, children. I am Suma. Today, let's discuss the chapter The Sound of Music. What do you decipher by listening to the title of this chapter, The Sound of Music? What is this chapter related about? The sound of music. Yes, the chapter is related to music, isn't it? We listen to so many songs, we enjoy songs, we learn songs. But can you imagine that a deaf person can listen to music? What is a deaf person? A person who cannot listen. Can that person listen to music and accomplish in her life? Yes, this chapter is about one of the persons like that who achieved in her life though she had hearing disability. Do you know this person? Who is this? She is Evelyn Glennie. In the part 1 of this, The Sound of Music, they start with Evelyn Glennie listens to sound without hearing it. What does it mean? Evelyn Glennie listen to sound means listens to music without hearing it, means she is a deaf. Though she is a deaf, she can listen to music. So how she can do that? To understand that, let us go deep into the chapter and understand. Before going into the chapter, I would like you to go through the text and then come back to me. And also, if possible, watch one of the videos of Evelyn Glennie in YouTube channel so that you'll get to know one idea of how she exactly followed the music. I hope you went through the textbook. Let's start with the discussion now. God may have taken her hearing, but He has given her back something extraordinary. What we hear, she feels, for more deeply than any of us. That's why she expresses music so beautifully. God may have taken her hearing. God has made her deaf, but He has gifted her with some gifts. We have heard that so many people with physical disabilities have accomplished so many things because they might have some different extraordinary skills in them. What we hear, she feels far more deeply than any of us. We hear, but we cannot feel it actually the way she feels it. She feels more deeply than any of us. That's why she expresses music so beautifully. How she learnt it, how she expressed, how she accomplished in her life. Let's go through the text now. Rush hour crowds jostle for position on the underground platform. Where is the situation taking place? Underground platform, train platform. Rush hour, it's a busy hour. Crowds jostle for position. Crowds push each other for position on the underground train platform. So the situation is taking place in a train platform where many people are pushing each other to get their place there. A slight girl looking younger than her 17 years was nervous yet excited as she felt the vibrations of the approaching train. A slight girl, a thin girl, looking younger than her 17 years. Though she was 17 years, she was looking younger than that. She was nervous because she is going to a new place for the first time, yet excited as she felt the vibrations of the approaching train. She felt the vibrations because she cannot hear. She felt the vibrations of the approaching train. It was her first day at the prestigious Royal Academy of Music in London. So where is she going to? She is going to Royal Academy of Music in London for the first time. It was daunting enough for any teenager fresh from a Scottish farm. It was daunting enough. Daunting enough means frightening enough. So it was frightening to her because she was a teenager, 17 years girl, and she was fresh from a Scottish farm. Scottish farm means she is from a countryside, from a village side. She is going to a city for the first time. That's why she's scared to go there. But this aspiring musician faced a bigger challenge than most. She was profoundly deaf. She was profoundly deaf, means she was absolutely deaf. That's why she faced a bigger challenge than any other people than most. Second paragraph. Evelyn Glennie's loss of hearing had been gradual. Was she a born deaf? No. It was gradual to her. It means slowly she developed this problem. Her mother remembers noticing something was wrong when the 8-year-old Evelyn was waiting to play the piano. Evelyn was waiting to play the piano. How old was she? She was 8 years old when she was waiting there. They called her name, but she didn't move. I suddenly recognized she hadn't heard, says Isabel Glennie. Who is this Isabel Glennie? She is the mother of Evelyn Glennie. She recognizes that someone calls her, but she doesn't recognize it. So the problem started at the age of 8 to her. For quite a while, Evelyn managed to conceal her growing deafness from friends and teachers. She didn't want to show it. She concealed, she hid that truth from her friends and teachers for quite a longer time, means until she was 11 years actually. But by the time she was 11 years, her marks had deteriorated and her headmistress urged her parents to take her to a specialist. So when she was 11 years old, her marks had deteriorated because she could not listen properly to the teachers. Her marks slowly decreased and headmaster forced her parents to take her to a specialist. It was then discovered that her hearing was severely impaired as a result of gradual nerve damage. So at that time, it was recognized that she was a deaf person. She had developed that problem in her. They were advised that she should be fitted with hearing aids and sent to a school for the deaf. So she could not continue in the same school because she was a deaf. She had to use the hearing aid to her. Everything suddenly looked black, says Evelyn. Everything suddenly looked black. So it was a shock to her now because she had to change her school. She had to use a hearing aid and it was completely different. So it looked black, dull, sad. But Evelyn was not going to give up. She was determined to lead a normal life and pursue her interest in music. She didn't want to lose her hopes. She wanted to lead a normal life and learn music. One day, she noticed a girl playing a xylophone and decided that she wanted to play it too. She saw one girl playing xylophone and she wanted to learn that. But what happened? Most of the teachers discouraged her, but percussionist Ron Forbes spotted her potential. So when a deaf person says she wants to learn something, obviously teachers doubted her. So many teachers discouraged her. But one of the persons called Ron Forbes, he recognized her potential and he was ready to teach her. He began by tuning 2 large drums to different notes. So he started tuning 2 different notes by using 2 large drums. Don't listen through ears, he would say, try to sense it some other way. So he told her not to listen through her ears but to sense the sounds, because vibrations will be there when he plays the drums. So she can feel it. Says Evelyn, suddenly I realized I could feel the higher drum from the waist up and the low one from the waist down. So after he said, she started sensing it, feeling it. So she started feeling the higher drums from the waist up, means upper part of her body. And then lower drums from her lower part of her body. So that is waist down. Forbes repeated the exercise and soon Evelyn discovered that she could sense certain notes in different parts of her body. So he repeated it and she started sensing the different notes. I had learned to open my mind and body to sounds and vibrations. The rest was sheer determination and hard work. Now she learned how to feel, how to sense it, and how to learn through sensing it. And now only the hard work is remaining. She has the determination to do it. She never looked back from that point onwards. She toured the United Kingdom with a youth orchestra, and by the time she was 16, she had decided to make music her life. So from there onwards, her journey started. She never looked back from that point onwards. She never looked back actually. She never had a second thought from there. She toured the United Kingdom with a youth orchestra. So means she completely roamed in United Kingdom with youth orchestra, means young people who were playing music. She started to go with them. And by the time she was 16, she had decided to make music her life. When she was 16 years old only, she had decided to make her life in music. She auditioned for the Royal Academy of Music and scored one of the highest marks in the history of Academy. So this is the accomplishment she did actually. So she is the person who scored highest marks in the history of Royal Academy, which is in London. She gradually moved from orchestral work to solo performances. So she was in a group. Now she wanted to give solo performances. At the end of her 13 years course, at the end of her 3-year course, she had captured most of the top awards. From there onwards, in 3 years, she got most of the top awards. And for all this, Evelyn won't accept any hint of heroic achievement. She doesn't have any ego by achieving this. She says, if you work hard and know where you are going, you will get there. And she got right to the top, the world's most sought after multi-percussionist with a mastery of some 1,000 instruments and hectic international schedule. So, Evelyn won't accept any hint of heroic achievement. If you work hard and know where you're going, you'll get there. She says, work hard. If you want to go somewhere, definitely you'll reach. So we have like where there is a will, there is a way. So only the thing is we have to make our mind to achieve some things. So she made it. And she got right to the top. Right to the top means she became famous. She reached her top in her success. The world's most sought after multi-percussionist. Multi-percussionist. Percussionist is nothing but who plays musical instrument. So she can play many musical instruments. That is 1,000 instruments she can play. And she also got hectic international schedule. It's intriguing to watch every function so effortlessly without hearing. So it's fascinating. It's curious to know that she is continuously giving many programs without hearing. In our 2-hour discussion, she never missed a word. Men with bushy beards give me trouble. Men with bushy beards give me trouble. She laughed. She laughed by saying men with bushy beards give trouble, and she spoke for 2 hours continuously, effortlessly, without any problem. So she laughed by saying that. Why? It is not just watching the lips, it's the whole face, especially the eyes. She speaks flawlessly with a Scottish lilt. Many deaf people, they watch the lips movement and they get the words actually. So they understand the words. But actually, this girl, Evelyn, she doesn't only watch the lip movement, she observes the whole face. She observes eyes, she observes how the lips move and how they give the expression, so that she flawlessly speaks, listens to that. So, she not only watches the lips, it's the whole face, especially the eyes. Mainly she watches the eyes. She speaks flawlessly with a Scottish lilt. Without any trouble, she speaks with a Scottish lilt. Lilt means it is their accent, Scottish accent. My My speech is clear because I could hear till I was 11, she says. So, till she was 11 years old, she could hear actually. So, that was a gradual change where she became a deaf. That's why she explains so she can hear and speak flawlessly. But that doesn't explain how she managed to learn French and master basic Japanese. She even knows French and Japanese. How does she know? She doesn't explain that. As for music, she explains it pours in through every part of my body. It tingles in the skin, my cheekbones, and even in my hair. So she says how she feels the music. As for music, she explains it pours in through every part of my body. So every part of her body senses that music. It tingles in the skin, my cheekbones, and even in my hair. Her skin feels that sensation. Her cheekbones feels that sensation. Even her hair feels the sensation. Means every part of her body feels that sensation. When she plays the xylophone, she can sense the sound passing up the stick into her fingertips. When they play that xylophone, they hold the sticks in the hand, right? So when they play the xylophone using the sticks, that vibrations will be passing from that stick to the fingertips. She senses that. By leaning against the drums, she can feel the resonances flowing into her body. So by leaning against that drums, so she leans against the drums and then the drums vibrations will flow in her body. She senses that. On a wooden platform, she removes her shoes so that the vibrations pass through her bare feet and up her legs. So in the platform, she removes her shoes and then through her legs, through her feet, she feels the sensation. So she knows how to feel the sensation. Not surprisingly, Evelyn delights her audiences. So she plays music for her audiences. In 1991, she was presented with the Royal Philharmonic Society's prestigious Soloist of the Year award. She got an award in 1991. Which is that award? Royal Philharmonic Society's prestigious Soloist of the Year. Says master percussionist James Blades, God may have taken her hearing, but he has given her back something extraordinary. What we hear, she feels far more deeply than any of us. That's why she expresses music so beautifully. At the beginning of the lesson only, I explain the meaning of this one. This is said by James Blades, who is one of the master percussionists. Evelyn confesses that she is something of a workaholic. What is workaholic? They are always involved in work. So she is a workaholic. I have just got to work, often harder than classical musicians, but the rewards are enormous. She says that she works hard. What she knows is only work. So she works harder than classical musicians. For that, she gets rewards. Apart from the regular concerts, Evelyn also gives free concerts in prisons and hospitals. So she gives free concerts in prisons and hospitals. So she is also in service to some people. She also gives high priority to classes for young musicians. So she gives more importance to giving classes to young musicians. Anne Richland of the Beethoven Fund for Deaf Children says she is a shining inspiration for deaf children. They see that there is nowhere that they cannot go. So she is really an inspiration, especially for the people who are handicapped. So that Anne Richland of the Beethoven Fund for Deaf Children, he says that She is shining inspiration for those deaf children. They see that there is nowhere that they cannot go. So means if they have the will to do something, they can definitely go anywhere and achieve anything. Evelyn Glennie has already accomplished more than most people twice her age. So she has accomplished more than her age, twice her age. So she has accomplished a lot. She has brought percussion to the front of the orchestra and demonstrated that it can be very moving. She showed how it can attract the people. She has given inspiration to those who are handicapped people who look to her and say, if she can do, I can. And not the least, she has given enormous pleasure to millions. She has not only delighted millions of people, but also she is the inspiration, and she has proved that any people can achieve anything. Nothing is impossible to anyone. Yes, I think now it is also an inspiration to us. We can also achieve a lot more things in our life.